concept. New concept is already what you experienced in your life, that we are going to see the science behind of that concept. So it will be easy to correlate with your subject. So everyone would have observed rainbows, right? Everyone seen rainbows in your life?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, some of the other occasions we would have seen. And anytime you wondered why the colors are in specific order, why the inner circle of the bow. So why it is called rainbow? The bow is like bow and arrow. So inner circle, inner bow, the bow which is having the inner side, that starts with the violet, then the bow, the outer side of the bow, it ends with the red, right? So why it is so? Anytime have you wondered what is the science behind this? Or what is happening naturally? Anybody know why it is in specific order? Then my class will be easy. Why it is in specific order? Why it starts with violet and ends with row? What I mean by starting point is like inner side of the bow, ending point is like outer side of the bow. Or you can change. The starts with red or ends with violet. Why it is so? Anybody know? No idea. Any clue? Somebody has given wavelength. Hebel. Okay. Anybody? Difference between red and violet. That varying difference you are saying. Okay, fine. Technical. Any answers? Can give weird answers also, no issue. Don't know to say it. Okay, fine. That's totally fine. Any weird answers? I want weird answers. Red wavelength high. Somebody's technical. Gone to the core of the session. Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll start. So many answers we got. So everyone is saying wavelength. Wavelength matters. So, but what is wavelength and how you understand wavelength? So that we will see. Next few moments we will see. So now you got the question. What is my question is why it is in specific order? Why it starts with violet and ends with row? That inner bow is like violet and the outer bow is red, and it gradually violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange. And you never would have witnessed in different order, like mixed up. It starts with violet, next will be like green, then next will be like orange, then finally it will be like blue. So that mixed up things you would have never noticed. So before we proceed to answer that question, why it is in specific order, what is color as per you? Anybody? What is color? Guys, why we are seeing colors? Why we are seeing different colors? And also why color is visible only in the daytime? Any connection is there with the day and colors? Why we are not seeing colors at night? What is the connection? Anybody?
Is a combination of color, light.
What is that? Color is the
combination of light. Yeah.
Combination of light. So what are all the varieties of lights you are having to combine to get the colors? Yes, no sunlight at night, so we are not seeing color. So somehow sunlight is connected with color. So that much we got it right from the nature. Because night we are not seeing any colors. So not even colors, because without colors we are not seeing any objects also. And sunlight is somehow connected with colors. So that much information we got from our daily observation from the nature. So no science behind it, just common sense. Okay, fine. So as you said initially, we are seeing different colors because of the different wavelengths. I'll come to the point what is wavelength in detail. Just understand we are seeing the variation of colors because of variation of wavelengths. And these wavelengths are hidden in the sunlight. Okay. So sunlight consists of so many wavelengths. And we will see in a moment what is wavelength. And these wavelengths are getting reflected from the object whatever you are seeing. So from that only we are seeing the colors. So sunlight consists of so many wavelengths, and when hits the object it absorbs some wavelength and it will reflect some other wavelength, right? It will absorb something and reflect something. So what it reflect, that wavelength hit your eyes and behind it the retina, then that will be giving signal to your brain. You will perceive as colors. Okay. So when different wavelengths come from different kind of object, that is means that objects are not the source of wavelength. The source of wavelengths are colors. Source of wavelengths are sunlight. But what object does is just to reflect a particular wavelength by absorbing other wavelengths. So some 10 wavelengths are coming from the sunlight. It will absorb 9 wavelengths. It will emit only one wavelength. So you are seeing some particular color. Okay. Or some combination of wavelength. You will see also that superposition of so many wavelengths also will give one more color, like red, green, blue, something. If you mix, you will get a white light, right? So we know how white we can make from the mixing of colors you would have done in your painting class. Mixing of 3 colors, we can get different color. So that also happens. Not only particular wavelength it will reflect, objects will reflect different kinds of wavelengths that get superimposed and we will see as a single color. So it is reflection of wavelength, and the variation wavelength we are getting colors. Everybody understood why we are seeing different colors? Because of different wavelengths. We will come to the point what is wavelength. It may be confusing to you because I'm directly introducing wavelength. Just in a moment we will see what is wavelength, but just keep it in mind. Colors are because of difference in wavelength. Variation of colors because of variation in wavelength, and that are all hidden in the sunlight. And one more thing is color is not a physical property. What I mean by physical property, like if you take charge of an electron, okay, or charge of a proton, so that will be like the value of pi. That will be agreed upon everybody throughout the universe, including aliens, anybody, because if they measure the length of the circle and divided by the diameter, they will always get the constant that is called pi. We will name it as pi and we will call it as some value, but that constancy is same. Whatever system they follow, whatever mathematical system we adopt, number system, but this ratio is always constant. Okay, that everybody will agree upon throughout the universe. There is no second thought. But color is not such kind of property. It even varies not within the humans, but from humans to animals. For example, you can take a dog. What color you are seeing, the same color dog cannot see, right? Because the color is the perception of your brain, what your eye is receiving as the wavelength. Wavelength will be constant. See, the wavelength is the physical property. Color is not the physical property. So whatever wavelength is getting reflected from the object, your brain, how it processes via your eyes, so that you are seeing as some colors. But the same wavelength may not be color at all. It may not be visible at all for some creatures. Okay. So the color is human specific. So humans are agreeing upon this. So whatever color we are seeing, we are agreeing upon, but it will not applicable to animals also, or it is not applicable to the aliens also, right? Yes, somebody has told bees can see ultraviolet. So that is one kind of wavelength is hidden in sunlight, so that some creature can see that we can't see. So our organ is tuned for some particular wavelength. We will call it as visible length. We will call it visible wavelength. You call it as visible spectrum. I don't want to bring much terminology here. So whatever wavelength visible to humans, we will call it as visible spectrum. But see how selfish we are. Whatever visible to other animals, we least bother. That we call it as invisible because we always think about ourselves only. Somebody said bees can see ultraviolet rays. So something like that. Other animals can see different kind of wavelength according to their organ design. Okay. Eyes and brain, how it is connected, how it is designed, it will perceive that wavelength as different form. So color is not a physical property. So what is behind the color? That wavelength is physical property. Wavelength will never vary for creatures or any species. It is constant. Whatever getting reflected with the object, the same thing will be perceived every species. But the what we understand as color, that thing get varies. Got it? Everybody is agreeing upon this. What I said, color is not a physical property. Wavelength is a physical property. But what color we perceive as humans, that is not a property. We cannot say a property because property means something should exist there, but it's not there. It is like our own perception. Okay, perceptions cannot be fixed as a property of the object. That you will perceive something, others will perceive something, aliens will perceive something. So it is not universal. Okay. So color is not a physical problem. Everybody is agreeing upon this. Somebody asked how many colors birds do see. Definitely, I don't know. To be frank with you, that we have to search to Google it. Yes, maybe 1% less. Somebody is telling what humans are saying is less than 1%. Maybe our capabilities are limited. So only we are depending on so much gadgets to see things. Next, we see objects of different colors. That is because sunlight, as I told already, sunlight composed of so many wavelengths, and those wavelengths get absorbed by objects, and something will get reflected. And whatever reflected wavelength, our organ, eye plus the brain, it perceives as colors. Okay, are we clear here, guys? Are we clear here? Because you are going to see in detail what is wavelength, and our finally, ultimately, you are going to answer the question why it is in specific order. Are we clear? Okay, fine. So up to this, we are clear. Still, one thing is not clear. I'll assume we are not clear. Maybe you would have read in your textbooks what is wavelength, but I'll assume you don't know the concept of wavelength, and let me proceed with it. So ultimately, we'll answer the question of why colors are in specific order in the rainbow. So now we'll see wavelength in detail. Okay. So next thing will be a blank screen. Nothing is going to come because I'm going to draw for in detail. So light consists of wavelength, I said. So we will assume light made up of so many smallest particles, and these particles are massless. Okay, massless. What I mean is no mass. Massless particles. Okay, and I'm going to give it a name. A simple name, photon, because light is called related with photos, because in some other language, not in English, photo means optic, something related to light. So we'll call it as photon. So light is made up of so many massless particles called photons. We'll start with this. Okay. So light is made up of so many particles, massless particles, and we will name it as photons. Okay. So are we clear here? So here is my light source. I'll call it as bulb. Okay. So it will emit light in all direction. And I am going to observe here. This is my eye. This is my eye socket. Eyeball is here. So I'll show the eyeball. The end of the eyeball, there will be a retina. So it will be connected to the brain. So whatever we are receiving as light, it will give some electrochemical reaction, that electrical pulses will travel through the neurons and brain will perceive the light. That and all different topic altogether. Okay, some basic understanding is necessary, so I said that. So from bulb we are getting a light. I'm going to draw, it is made up of smallest massless particles. So I'm going to draw like small particles, like, so if I draw small you can't see, so let me draw somewhat bigger size called photons. But one thing we have to agree upon, all these photons will not jumble up and push away like molecules of the air. No, it will not do like that. We will assume all these photons are equally spaced. Okay. So all these photons are equally spaced. What I mean equally spaced, the distance between each photon is always same. It will never vary. Okay. It's equal. Same it is. But that is not the case with molecules. So don't confuse with air molecules. Air molecules will move randomly, hit other molecules, move away. So their kinetic energy, so many things will play. So what I'm going to see here is, what we are going to see here is photons with equally spaced. Okay, it's moving, it's not stagnant. It's continuously, this bulb will emit the photons. So what I mean for is light. Light is made, I'm assuming light beam is made up of so many massless particles called photons. So it is continuously moving and it is hitting the eye. So we are perceiving as a light. Okay, something is coming. So since this we'll call it as a white light. Okay, not monochromatic. So it is not a, we'll call it as a mercury vapor lamp, not sodium vapor lamp. Sodium vapor lamp will give yellow light. Okay, whatever color you want, we are just going to doing this to understand what is wavelength. Okay, that's it. So whatever light you consider it, whether it's a mercury vapor lamp or sodium vapor lamp or whatever it is. Okay, it is emitting a light, and the light consists of photons. And I told the photons are equally spaced. So we are going to define what is the length between the each photon. Okay, the length, the distance between the each photon, I'm going to call it as lambda. What it is? Lambda. It is measured in the SI units of meter. Okay, so this is called lambda. Are we clear here? Anything you are not getting here, guys? Are we clear? Yes, clear. I'll assume everybody is being with me, okay, in the same phase. We are not losing anybody. If anybody lost, you can stop me and we can review, okay, because there is no urgency here. We can discuss, okay. So the distance between each photon, okay, is called lambda. I'm defining it as lambda. It is measured in the units of meter. So next, what I'm going to do, I want to know how many photons are hitting this eye per unit time. What I want to know, how many photons hitting this eye per unit time, because human eyes are incapable to notice that how many photons are hitting, because you'll just see a continuous beam of light, so you'll never know how many photons are hitting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this eyeball with some sensor. Okay, some sensor I will connect, some diode. It will give the voltage output, water, because we can make this light detecting sensors are cheaply in the market. You can take and you give some signal output. You with the counter, you can measure how many pulses you are getting for each hitting of photons with this diode. How many pulses for one hit, you will get one pulse. So with that, you take a stopwatch. That also not necessarily directly will give you the reading, but for understanding purpose, in principle, to understand, I'm telling you, take the stopwatch, okay, and just start counting. So you decide the time, how many pulses you want to, how much time you can decide, whether the unit time is second or minute or 1 hour, it is up to you. But we are going to consider per unit time. So I'm going to take 1 second. So I'll take the stopwatch. I'll allow it to go for 1 second. I will measure the pulses. How many pulses I got? How many voltage pulses I got? On, off, on, off. You can keep some LED light also. You can count it. So each photon, if it hits the diode, it will give one output. So I measure how many photons hit per second. Okay. So for 1 second, I calculated how many photons hit this with this help of the circuit. So I'm going to call this as number of photons I received per second. Okay. Number of photons I received per second. But what is lambda? Lambda is the distance traveled by one photon from this position to other position, because all the photons are same and they are equally spaced. When one photon is moving from this position to this position, it would have traveled a distance of lambda. So lambda is the distance traveled by one photon. Okay. So length traveled per photon by one photon. In 1 second, these many photons traveled. So I will get distance per unit time. Everybody's agreeing? What I got finally? If I do this, lambda is the distance traveled by one photon, and I measured this number of photons I received per second. So if I multiply this, what I will get ultimately? Distance traveled by a photon in 1 second. So what that will be? That will be the velocity of the photon, right? Nothing but velocity of the light beam. Because all the photons are equally spaced, you can imagine like a train made up of so many bogies which are connected and they're equally spaced. When an engine is moving, all the bogies will be moving at the same speed, right? Nothing will move at different speed. So if you calculate the velocity of one bogie, you can tell what is the velocity of the train. So similarly, if I calculate the velocity of a single photon, I can tell what is the velocity of the light beam. So from that, I got the velocity of the light beam. So this is called wavelength. And what this is? Anybody is having any clue? number of photons per second, number of photons hit per second. What we'll call this? We are going to call this as frequency, because in 1 second, how many photons hit the diode? So it is called frequency. So velocity of light is wavelength. I'm going to define frequency as nu. What is called nu. So velocity of light is lambda into nu. So I'm going to define velocity of light as c. I'm label it. So c is equal to lambda nu. Everybody is agreeing with this? How I got this? I'm going to stop here. You have to tell me, because with this understanding only you are going to proceed second level. So velocity of light is lambda into nu. Yes, clear. Everybody is agreeing? How I got this? Wavelength into frequency. What is frequency? How many hits per second? No, to be a second, you can take time in minutes also. Then you will mess up with the SI units. Okay. But ultimately, in principle, what is velocity? Distance traveled by time taken. Whatever time you choose, but you calculate the distance traveled, you will get a velocity, but it will be in different units. So you have to keep the units in properly. Okay, fine. So I got c equal to nu lambda. So why I call it as c, velocity of light as c? Because velocity of light was already measured before knowing that is made up of waves or the wavelength, frequency, those things. The velocity of light was already measured using experiment. It is approximately equal to 3 into 10 power 8. The unit is meter per second. Okay. So this nu into lambda is equal to constant. So only I defined as c. C means everybody will agree that is some constant. So whatever the variation of wavelength and the frequency, our velocity of light is always constant. That we know. Constants of light will never change. Okay. Now we are going to connect this understanding with our question of why it is in specific order. We are slowly moving ahead. We will see. So when these photons I shown you equally spaced are hitting your eyes, you are receiving one color. Okay. In a similar way, another light is coming. This is one particular wavelength. We'll call it as lambda 1. So this light is having the wavelength of lambda 1. So one more source of light, it is generating another light, and the light beam consists of photons of different wavelength. Sorry. Is closely spaced somewhat. But all are equally spaced, but this is closely spaced. The distance between the two photons is I'll call lambda 2. Okay. Now one more light is coming. It's having different wavelength. Still closely spaced, but equally spaced. You don't forget that. All are equally spaced. The wavelength I'll call it as lambda 3. So you can see lambda 1 is greater than lambda 2, lambda 3. So the wavelengths are decreasing. The distance between the photons are decreasing. Okay. So what will happen to the frequency? What will happen to the frequency? Frequency means number of hits per second. What will happen to it? Now they're saying clear. Okay. What will happen to the frequency? I given you the wavelengths.
Increasing.
So somebody said increase. Increasing from where to where? Lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3. The respective frequency are nu 1, nu 2, nu 3. Okay. So how I'm going to put the inequality sign here? In the same way or in different way? Nu 1 will be greater than nu 2 and nu 2 will be greater than nu 3, or in other way around. So this inequality symbol, this is lambda, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3. So what will be the inequality sign for these frequencies? See, use your common sense. Here, it is equally spaced, somewhat separated apart. Okay, somewhat far away. So that means the wavelength is bigger, means the photons are far away. So if you take 1 second time in your stopwatch and you measure number of photons hit your eyes, that will be less, right? Number of photons hit here. per second will be less, right? But here, for the same second, you will get hit with more number of photons because all are closely spaced. So it needs to travel very little distance compared to the earlier light. So your frequency will be somewhat higher. In this last case, still smaller distance it should travel. So for the same 1 second, it will hit because the photons are coming continuously. You can take infinite number of photons are coming from the source. Okay, don't worry about number of photons. If I fix the number of photons, then these ideas will never work out. Number of photons are infinite from the source. So infinitely it's coming. But what is the only condition? The space between the photons are equal. That is the only condition applying. So when the space is increasing, the frequency, the hitting your eyes will decrease. When the space is decreasing, the hits will be more. So now, can anybody say what will happen with the frequency? So somebody has said in the third case, the number of hits per second will be more. So I can directly write, assuming that you understood, the frequency of the third case will be higher than the second, and the second will be higher than the first. Okay. So this is how it is connected. Because of these property only, our velocity of light is constant. From here you can see simply, abstractly you can see, no need to understand anything. If wavelength is increasing, what will happen to frequency? It will decrease in order to keep the velocity of light constant. Correct? Simple mathematics, abstract mathematics. No need of any understanding. Physics. Any product of two variable is constant. When one variable you are increasing, the other variable should decrease in order to keep the product constant. Okay, that's how maths works. Abstract mathematics works. It will never bother about the physics. But we are reading physics, so I can show you this. I can skip. But why I want to show this, so that I'll make you to think in future. If anything you try to read mathematically, you try to think what is physics behind it. Don't take abstract mathematics as it is, but try to think what is happening behind the maths. Okay. So the frequency is increasing when the wavelength is decreasing. That's all I want to say from here. So how it is connected with the colors? Because when the wavelengths are varying, you will observe you will get different kind of signal to your brain because the frequency is varying. So when the frequency is varying, number of hits will vary, right? The number of hits in the first second will be less. The number of hits in the second case will be somewhat higher. The number of hits in the third case will be little bit higher. So your brain will give different signal. So you'll perceive as different colors. So instead of saying different wavelengths, different frequencies will be more apt or more prompt. So different frequencies having different colors, right? Are we clear here? Anything you want to note down here? Only one equation is there, C is equal to nu lambda. That's it. Clear. So nothing to keep. So I'll erase. Okay, fine. So now we clear what is frequency, what is wavelength, why we are seeing different colors. Fine. Everything is clear. Now we'll come to the question of why there is a specific order in the arrangement of colors. So when the sunlight is, so before explaining rainbow colors, I want to show you how it will act in prism. Okay. So few colors I'll draw, not all colors. So you can understand here what I'm doing. I'm reducing the space. So what I'm doing, I'm reducing the wavelength. I'm increasing the frequency. You have to say tuck like that. You have to say. So for violet, I put purple, blue, okay. So only few colors are shown here. So you consider it is ranges from violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So it starts with violet, ends with red. You can assume like that. In between so many colors with different variation of spaces, so that different frequencies are available. So all these wavelengths superpose each other, and you are seeing as a single color. Okay, so that is called sunlight. So we'll call it as white light. So all these colors from violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and all these colors superpose each other. What I mean superpose? When put together, okay, when joined together, you will get one wavelength or you will get one color that is called sunlight or white light. But white is not having a particular wavelength. It is a combination of wavelength. Okay, it ranges from 400 to 600 nanometers something, 10 power minus 9 nanometers. So it ranges, the wavelength ranges from 400 to 6. No, there is no specific or monochromatic wavelength for white light. So white is the combination of so many wavelengths. So that's what we are seeing here. So what happens when white light hit the prism? Why I'm saying prism? Because that helps to understand the rainbow formation. So when this white light, it hits the prism. So I have put bigger prisms to show you something phenomenal here. What happens when this red light goes inside? Because it's having somewhat bigger space. And this blue. What happens? This blue is slightly get bent. I'll tell you reason why. Just let me finish the drawing. They still get bent more. And be ejected outside. Okay, I can't show other side. So what you see here is when the wavelength, then the distance between the photons are more, the interaction with this matter. So the prism is made up of matter, right? Because the outside the prism is called atmosphere air, so that we called as a rarefied medium. There is no that much interaction. But when it hits a solid objects like a prism or glass slab, inside there is a matter, closely packed matters. So that will interact with the light. So nothing but a photon. So that matter is having a vibrating electrons inside, okay, or freely moving electrons. So these photons will interact with those electrons, with those vibrating electrons here, with those vibrating electrons. The vibration of the electrons will be same within the matter, within the prism. So, but the interaction with the photons will vary according to the space, because you can see very clearly when something is moving the largely space, it's moving inside something, the constrained area, that effect on that movement will be very less. But when something is closely packed and is moving inside the constrained area, the effect will be more. So that's what happened here. When this different wavelength passes through the prism, it is getting affected differently. The red light, which is having bigger wavelength, it's least affected, but the violet, which is having the smallest wavelength, it is getting affected more for the same vibration of electrons of the prism. So it gets deflected more. So the angle of deflection or deviation from the straight line path is more for smaller wavelength and less for larger wavelength. Any doubt here? What statement I made just now? Any doubt here? Are we offline?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So bigger wavelength getting least affected inside the solid object. The smaller wavelength is getting more affected inside the same solid object because of the interaction with the matter. Interaction between the photons and the matter cause this effect. Okay. So now you can see why shortest wavelength is getting deflected more and the longest wavelength is least deflected. So from this angle of deflection, the core concept of rainbow is available. Okay. So here, before hitting the prism, what we are seeing is a white light. Okay, because everything is superposed. But once it hits the matter, that is prism, it started to get deflected. So this process is called dispersion. The prism, what it does, is just separating the photons, different wavelengths of photons. It separates. It does the work of segregation. What prism does, it just segregate the hiding wavelengths. It categorizes one particular wavelength it allowed to go one side, one particular wavelength in other side. So prism does the work of segregation based on wavelength. Okay, so we are seeing a colors outside. So before prism, you will see a white light because all are moving at the same phase, so it gets superimposed. But after passing through the prism, it gets deflected because of the interaction with the matter present in the prism. So you will see a colors outside of the prism. Okay. So how it is going to help to understand rainbow, we'll see just now. So when the white light hits the prism, we'll see the colors. Are we clear? Shall we move? Yes. So now we will see why we are seeing a rainbow. So here you can see the sunlight. So for a rainbow, there are three ingredients. Three things are important. One is sun, one is rain droplets, and one is you. Okay. Without you, there will not be any rainbow to see. So all these three are required ingredients, required things to see the rainbow. But sunlight will be always behind you. When you are seeing a rainbow, you can see in our initial case also, when you are seeing a rainbow, the sunlight will be backside. Okay. I can show you there. My first screen, must slide. You can see here the shadow of the cow. So the sun is somewhat here. Okay. Then the cow shadow, from the cow shadow, you can see where our sun will be. So that rainbow is always opposite to the sun. It will not, you will see the rainbow in between. So that means in front of you, rainbow will be there. That means backside of you, sun will be there. So you'll be always in between sun and rainbow. Okay. You will not see both at one place. You will not see sun and rainbow in front of you. If you are seeing a rainbow, sun will be backside. Okay. So you'll be middle of that always. That phenomena we will see here. Why it is so. So we know the white light is getting dispersed because of the prism. And why prism does that? Prism is interacting with the different wavelength differently. Okay. So similarly, the rain droplets present in the atmosphere acts like an individual prism, right? So it disperses. So whatever sunlight refracted through the rain droplets, each rain droplet acts like a prism, and it disperses the white light into many colors based on the wavelength present in the white light. So there are so many wavelengths present, but what you can see visibly is, what you can see is 7 wavelengths, that is only 7 colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. From the dispersion itself, I have told you, higher wavelength will never get deflected so much. So only top you will get red, the bottom you will get violet. So according to the wavelength classification, your angle of deflection will vary. So that is the reason of this order. Why there is an order? The order is because the angle of deflection is varying based on the wavelength. So it gets internally reflected and it is coming outside. Okay. So you can think, then I should see when each droplet is act like single prism, then I should see so many rainbows, right? According to, because one prism you are seeing so many colors, but I am seeing only one rainbow of 7 colors. But as per this, when each rain droplet is act like individual prism, I should see numerous rainbows, right? N number of rainbows according to the droplets, but we are not seeing like that. Why? Because whatever happened here, the angle of deflection, for understanding purpose, they have shown you very small, but actually the sun is far away, the rain droplets far away, and whatever getting deflected, it's reaching your eye. So that time, this angle, no, that will be bigger. So it starts with the angle of deflection. When it reaching your eyes, these colors will escape from your eyes. So only one color from one rain droplet will reach your eyes. So in a similar way, every rain droplet will give you the one color and makes the rainbow, what you're seeing in the nature. It's made up of 7 color. So whatever come to your eye from these droplets, okay, so that only you're seeing. Other thing is getting deflected. It doesn't mean that it is not there. Other colors are there, but you can't see. It is not in your field of vision. So whatever is there in field of vision only you're seeing. So in this range of field of vision, You are seeing this colors, it is coming to your eyes. So here they give so many rain droplets will be there in between. It will give different colors. Others will get deflected and go away from your field of vision. Whatever colors comes from each rain droplet, single color will come from each rain droplet. That is in such a way that is deflected. That is the angle is in such a way it reaches your eyeball. So we'll see a 7-color rainbow. But why the rainbow is like an arch? Okay, why the rainbow is like an arch? Why the rainbow looks like an arch? Why it is not circular? Why it can't be a circular rainbow? Why it should be like an arch? Anybody?
Because the raindrops do not go in a circle, they go down.
Raindrops are available plenty. You can consider infinite amount of raindrops are there in the atmosphere and it is getting deflected and you are seeing like an arch. Why are not seeing like circular? Maybe I will show you. So in case if there is a raindrop here and whatever sunlight comes, it will hit here. Why it can't reach? So that it will make a circular rainbow. So in front of you, it should make a circular rainbow, right? Why it is not happening? Because you are at the ground, right? You are standing on the ground. So below the ground, there will not be any raindrops to push. So up to the ground, whatever raindrops are available, whatever it get reflect, and those colors only will form as a rainbow, and that color will form like an arch. But in case you are a mountain climber, you are a mountaineer, you are somewhere up above on the mountain, so you can see it is there existing. You can see circular rainbows. Circular rainbows are existing in nature, guys. We can see circular rainbows. Or if you are a skydiver, you are jumping from the aeroplane, you are jumping from the aeroplane. Okay, so if it happens to see, you can see a circular rainbow if the field of vision is exactly suits you. So what I'm saying, the field of vision, so you can see in nature always at the angle of 42-degree only you will see the rainbow. Wherever you are at the top of the mountain, you are falling down, the sunlight and the raindrops and what you are, if you are able to see, if you happen to see a rainbow, you can take it for granted that is at the field of vision of 42-degree. If it is not 40-degree, you can't see the rainbow. So rainbows are always existing. It is not like a rare event, but you can't see because the light will get deflected and will go somewhere. So when you happen to see, that is coming from the angle of 42-degree. Okay, when you can't see, it doesn't mean that it is not existing. Always colors are getting deflected, but you can't see. So that's it. So rainbows also the area specific, which area you're available. You can call your friend, you can show the rainbow. But if your friend is some 10 kilometers away, if you happen to see from his rooftop, if you ask him to see, hey, can you witness the rainbow from your home? He can't see what you are seeing. So it will vary for individual, some larger distance. So only for a particular place from particular area, as a group, you can witness a rainbow, not somewhat larger distance. Okay, so rainbow is an optical illusion. If you try to catch it, if this guy try to move, he will miss the rainbow because it will go away from his field of vision. So if you travel some few distance, he will miss the rainbow. So rainbow is not exactly there. What he is seeing is like an optical vision. So the light is getting deflected and it is reaching his eyes. So he is making an image of the colors in this angle. Okay. So in this angle, he is making the colors of rainbow, but it is not actually existing there. It is just an optical illusion. So are we clear now? Why it is in specific order? Because the session is over now. Are we clear? Any doubts you want to ask? Nothing related to rainbow. You can ask doubts on optics also. Any doubt is there in optics, light, you can ask. So rainbow is like an optical illusion, like how we are seeing mirage in this one desert, or in the hot sunny day you will see some like something like water is on the road highway. So like optical illusion only, this rainbow also. So it is not an object existing there. You can't try to reach it. Yes. That's what I said, skydiver. So skydiver, what I'm saying is when you would have seen some guys will be jumping from the flight, they're holding each other hands. They happen to see circular rainbows. Actually, they can see circular rainbows because so much atmosphere is there behind them. So all the rain droplets will try to deflect the sunlight, so they can get a circular rainbow. But since you are on the ground, so below you there is no rain droplets, so it will not the sunlight is not getting deflected. So you'll get an arch, rainbow arch. So that's it. Okay. Any doubt?
Sir, the arch could also be a straight line. Why also only?
Which one? Colors are rainbow.
Sir, rainbow arch.
Ah, okay.
It could also be a straight line.
Arch, you said arch. Arch means it's already bending. It's already bent,
Sir,
right? So you are saying
yes,
there should not be any bent. It will be like a straight line, you are saying. Right?
Yeah.
Because what happens here, they have shown you here in the sketch, sunlight is emitting rays like that. But actually, sunlight is like three-dimensional. All direction, light will be emitted. Okay, you are in front of you are in between. So when all direction the light is emitted, it will get deflected from all directions. And the field of view, because you keep it like your center. Okay, your eye is somewhat center. So it should reach the same angle. So what you will see, happen to see, will be an arch only, right? If all the light is reaching you, because you are at some center, when all the light is reaching you, it will happen to form an arch only. If it is not arch, all the light will not reach you at the same angle. If it is rainbow you are seeing, means all the light is coming from the same angle, 42 degree. Okay, if it is 42 degree only, you can see that. So it is reaching you at an angle of 42 degree. So I solely said the 42 degrees, why it is fixed. If you are not seeing rainbow, means it is not coming to you. It is going somewhere else. When you happen to see rainbow, then it is existing in the angle of 42 degree, and the sun rays are three-dimensional. Everywhere it is passing, and it is getting deflected in three-dimensional atmospheric air or moisture, whatever water droplets, and it will reach you in all direction. When it is reaching from all direction, what you will see is like arch. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
So what I want to say here is, keep you are here. So behind you, sun is there. There are so many rain droplets are there in the atmosphere. So behind you, sun, it's hitting the rain droplets. So to reach you, everywhere deflection will be there. But whatever reach you, it comes from particular angle only, right? Because you are a point. You consider yourself as a point. So what you will see? You will see arch only, right? Everywhere it gets deflected, goes away. But since you are a point, you will receive, when you happen to see a rainbow, that means it is coming from all direction to you. Then it should be like an arch. If it is not an arch, then it will not reach this point. Then you can't see the rainbow at all. But it is existing, but you can't see because we are not rightly tuned to the position.
There are a couple of questions in the chat, Bala.
Oh.
Right from Krishnanjali. Then Hafiz.
And light bend around corners. Yes, light bend around corners. So that is what we'll call it as diffraction, right? So we'll call it as a diffraction. And this diffraction, interference, so many things happens for light. So light bend around the corners. Yes, obvious. If we have a moonlight and sunlight at a time, can we see two rainbows? Moonlight and sunlight. Source of light, whatever may be the source of light, okay, when it is coming to your field of vision, so particular light rays which is getting deflected to you only will reach, right? So you will see, but there are primary and secondary rainbows for the same sunlight. You will leave alone moon. For the same sunlight, we can see secondary rainbows also, because here I shown it is refracted and reflected. But in case if one more reflection happens, this will go here. It will escape here. So inside the transparent bubble, inside this water wavelet that is called made up of photons of different spaces. When it's superposed, it will give one continuous beam of different what we said, different color. So you will perceive it as a different color, but that is consist of so many wavelengths, like our white light. The white light is consist of so many wavelengths. It includes the photons of different space. Okay, but it doesn't mean it's bounce off. It interacts. What I can say in waveform, if we say it get interacts. So in particle form, if we say bounce off means we can say destructive interference. If it is in waveform, we will say like interference, no, constructive and destruction. That can happen. Okay, constructive interference and destructive interference. You can, if you try to explain in terms of photons, we can call it as something is getting bounced off. So that word also we can use. Whatever seeing as a dark fringes, we can say those regions the photons are bounced off. So that word also we can use. But if you want to explain interference, it's always better to go with waveform. So only they will call light is consist of duality. Okay, to explain certain phenomena, we will approach with a certain logic. For example, to explain interference, diffraction, polarization, we will consider waveform. But to explain these emission, absorption, and quantum effect, those things we will consider as photons. Photoelectric effect. For this, we will consider as photons. So light is having this dual nature. It will act both like a wave and photon, duality. So we can consider as bouncing off also, because we are seeing bright region and dark region interference. So which is getting bounced off, there is no photon. So we are seeing dark. Wherever is getting superposed, we are seeing bright light. Just we can consider like that. Can radio antennas emit visible light? Can radio antennas? No, radio antennas will emit only radio waves. Okay, because light is ultimately is a disturbance in both electrical and a magnetic field, right? It's a disturbance in electrical magnetic field you are seeing as a light. So light is nothing but part of electromagnetic spectrum. So the radio wave is like a bigger wavelength, and next is microwave. Then you would have read, okay, radio wave, microwave, infrared, then visible spectrum will come, then ultraviolet ray, then ends with X-rays, gamma rays. So X-rays, gamma rays, radio waves we can't see, but there are devices it can interpret and give it to you in the form of whatever your eye can perceive. You can see there are radio telescopes are available, right? They will use it in Hubble's, that's Hubble Space Telescope, no, to see the space cosmos. They will use these kind of telescopes, not only optical telescope. They will use X-ray telescope, IR, radio telescope, so they can get the information and they will process it in the way we can see. Radio antennas, as we see, it only emit radio waves. Can you explain why solar eclipse causing harmful to our eyes when we look at it directly? So not only solar eclipse, without solar eclipse, if you see the sun directly also, it is harmful. Okay, you can try it. So solar eclipse is much more harmful because of the heavier brightness. Same thing applicable with our welding arc, right? Anybody would have seen the welding shop workshops that they will use the glass to filter that intensity of the light. They'll use the glass because enormous amount of intensity will damage your retina. Okay, so that is, maybe other creatures can see, but humans can't see. Spectroscopic. Okay, spectroscopy on field of study, we can say. Spectroscopy one instrument also is there. It is having one end collimator, one end telescope. So it will converge all the light and we can see the different spectrum of the light. So if you use a sodium vapor lamp, you can see only yellow light. If you use a white light, mercury vapor lamp, you will see colors. Yeah, it's another topic. How does a black hole give off light? Black hole will never give off light, but a black hole will emit some thermal radiation. Okay, so there is one beautiful chapter in Brief History of Time book by Stephen Hawking. It says, the chapter title itself will clearly explain you, black holes ain't so black. That means black holes are not so much black. That means it's giving off some radiation, not light, some radiation. So particle, antiparticle, it gets emitted. So one will get absorbed inside the black hole, one will get emitted from the black hole. So in that way only black hole is getting evaporated. Black hole is not permanent. by keep on observing the black hole which keep on radiating outside, its size will reduce. Okay, black hole is not eternal. Black hole also will die. Somebody said no. What is that? No. Will the intensity of light?
That I said to the will black holes emit light.
What is it? Yeah. Hello.
For that question, do black holes emit light?
No, black holes does not give off light, because actually it's only it is named as black hole. But what I meant to say is black hole will emit something that is thermal radiation, we will call it as. Okay, so it is named after Hawking radiation. Okay. So that is go somewhat deeper. Okay, we will stop here. Hawking radiation limit. So that much you understand. Black hole is not so much black. What I mean is it emits something. Nothing goes, everything will not goes in. Something it emits. That is called Hawking radiation. So because of the radiation, only black hole size is getting reduced. So black hole also not eternally available. So at the end of the universe, that means when the everything time passed billions of years, the eons passed, then the universe is going to end. At the end time also, black holes will be existing finally, but the black hole also will die off slowly. So that's what I want to say. So will the intensity of light increase during solar eclipse when moon block the sunlight at the center of the line of vision of sun? Yes, it's like focused. Okay, so something is getting focused and sent to you. Like what will happen? You take a lens, the convex lens, not concave, convex lens, show in front of sun and try to show on your arm. You will feel the burning sensation there, right? So because of what, the lights are focused. So whatever dispersed out, you are focusing using lens. The same lensing effect may happen when these eclipses are occurring. Okay, so because of this lensing effect only, it damage. Its focused light will come, it will damage your retina more. Any doubt, guys? So fluorescent highlighter. So the fluorescent is not a source of light. It only reflects the light better. Okay. So you would have seen fluorescent, what to say, signboards or the flyover, some ad boards will be there. When your headlight of your vehicle hits that ad board only, you will see the light. When there is no light, you can't see anything. So like reflector in the night time while driving, no, so many fluorescent stickers will be there. Signboards will be there. So when your headlight hits that, you will see that. And so it is not the source which is emitting the light, that is a material which is having the property of more reflection. So they have designed the material in such a way it will reflect more light compared to other objects. Okay, so we should not use the word shining. Okay, shining means somebody will use poetically, you shine like a moon, because shine means something should emit. Sun will shine, but moon is not shining. Moon is only reflecting. Diamond also just reflecting. So diamond does not shine. It is not the source of light. It just only borrow the light from some other source. It just reflect to you. So it's having more reflection property. So you're getting the brightness. Yes, fluorescent does that. Anybody? Thank you, guys. Because I've seen so much interaction in this class only. I have taken so many classes, but like this interaction, I never encountered. How does the sun make light? See, that goes with initially when the universe, the Big Bang happened. I'll start with just hydrogen. You can ask how hydrogen formed. Hydrogen formed because of one proton and one electron, and how that proton forms because of quarks. Quarks, that is what are all quarks, up quarks, down quarks. So I'll not go into that detail. We'll start with hydrogen. When the universe started, hydrogen, simple hydrogen elements were available. These hydrogen elements will fuse together and made into helium atoms. And these helium atoms further fused together. Why it is getting fused? Because of the gravitational pull. These gas clouds are getting pulled to each other. Because of the enormous pressure, it is nuclear reaction is happening. And this hydrogen is becoming into helium. So when this conversion process, nuclear fusion process, it emits so much energy. This energy only balancing the gravitational pull. So it forms on shape. So sun wants to collapse to the core, but the energy what is released, that is the pressure, heat energy what is released, that is keeping the sun in the shape. So it's like a pakka balance. If the balance is not there, the sun will collapse into the core because of the gravitational pull. But because of this nuclear fusion, it is balancing the pull, counterbalancing the pull. So when this reaction happens, whatever amount of energy is released, some amount of energy is in the wavelength of what we can see. Okay, that we can see as a light, what we are seeing as sunlight. No, that is in some amount of wavelength, that is in visible spectrum. So others will be in different spectrum, but nothing beyond the electromagnetic spectrum. Whatever electromagnetic spectrum you know, from radio waves to gamma rays, in that spectrum only it will emit. If it emits anything beyond that, then science is hollow, right? We misdid something. So absolutely whatever sun emits, the light, what you are calling it as, we can say it is electromagnetic wave, and light we will call it as a visible spectrum of the electromagnetic wave. So that visible spectrum only you are seeing as a light. So other spectrum is still available. Radio waves, gamma rays, X-rays, so many ranges of electromagnetic spectrum is possible. Anybody? Why this electromagnetic spectrum is coming? Because of the vibration of charged particle. That goes to electromagnetic theory. The vibration of charged particles create a disturbance in electric and magnetic field. So that's what we are seeing as an electromagnetic spectrum. So different vibration, different wavelength, right? How does the sun make light? I explained it. Some materials glow for a particular duration in the dark after the light is off. Why? How colors emitted in LED and LCD? This everything required separate class. Okay, this started with rainbow, but everything required a separate class. Okay, I will take it as a good suggestion. I'll take that this one more topic for another science concept of the day. Why, how LED and LCD TV works. Okay, and one question: some materials glow for a particular duration in the dark after the light is off. Light is off. What do you mean by light is off? Light is off is what you mean. I can say you switch off the light. That means you disconnected the electrical supply. But whatever heat is there, that vibration, because of the inertia, we can call it as inertia, that will never go off, right? That will always exist. Some amount it will be there. So it will radiate that, and all the energy goes up, it will stop. Like the inertia only. Some wheel, if you rotate, even though you stop the rotation, it will be rotating on its own for some time. Then it will goes off because of the friction. Same thing happens for the light also. When the voltage, if you disconnect the voltage power input, the vibration of something stops, and the whatever light emits, that also stops, but the vibration continues because of some internal momentum is stored there. Why do camera flashes make your eyes turn red when a photo is taken? There is like a red eye effect filter. Seriously, I don't know, yeah. Why it is red? That also I want to see.
It is blood, sir. Blood.
Why do camera flashes make your eyes turn red when a photo is taken? Maybe some phenomena you have to see. That's a good thing. But I know red eyes are there. But why it is appearing? Honestly, I don't know. I can't answer everything.
Sir, that is blood in the eye. When light flashes, the blood.
Why on our skin there is no blood? Why only on eyes?
That is because the eyes only capture the light. Nothing else captures the light.
Why? We are observing, our skin absorbs here all the light. Eyes capturing means that will go to your brain, but all the skins absorb as a heat. Whatever light it hits on you, you'll feel the heat, right? So other parts of the body gives different signal. Your eyes will give different signal. That's it. The brain will receive the signal in different way. From the eye organ, we will receive it as vision. From the skin, we will receive it as heat. You'll feel the heat. So light we are observing throughout the body. So what explanation you got there? It's just simply I'm asking, I don't know.